The screen glowed like a lifeline in the dead of night, casting blue shadows across my cluttered Brooklyn apartment. Rain hammered the fire escape outside, a relentless drumbeat that drowned out the city's hum. I was Alex Harper, 20, scraping by as a freelance journalist, chasing deadlines for stories that barely paid the rent. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, heart pounding from another 12-hour grind. That's when his message pinged through the ether, soft as a breath against my ear. Stranger. Can't sleep? Tell me about the storm in your head tonight. Jordan Ellis. A high school English teacher out in Los Angeles, with a profile pic that showed him grinning against a palm tree backdrop. Eyes crinkled like he knew all your secrets. We'd matched on that app 3 months ago, Grindr. The digital confessional for guys like us, hiding in plain sight. But it wasn't hookups. It was whispers. Late-night confessions that started with, "What's keeping you up?" and spiraled into the raw stuff, the ache of growing up gay in small-town America, the weight of family expectations that felt like lead chains. Back, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat. Thunder's loud here. Reminds me of Dad yelling at the TV during football games. His reply came fast, words unfolding like smoke. Sun's out. But my mind's cloudy. Thinking about that kid in my class today, 14, scared to come out. Makes me wish I could rewind my own mess. We talk for hours. Voices syncing in voice notes that played like forbidden podcasts. Just laugh. Low and rumbling. Cut through my insomnia like warm bourbon. I'd close my eyes, imagining the scent of his cologne, something citrusy, mixed with the faint chalk dust from his classroom. He described LA's endless sunsets, painting them vivid, oranges bleeding into purples, the distant roar of the Pacific crashing like applause. I'd counter with New York's grit, the sizzle of street vendors at dawn, the metallic tang of subway rails underfoot. But tonight, the storm wasn't just weather. It was him. Alex? I need to say it. I think I'm falling for you. For real. Not pixels. My breath caught a sharp inhale that fogged the screen. Falling. The word hung there, heavy as the rain-soaked air. I'd felt it too, the pull, like gravity shifting under my feet. But doubt clawed in. Distance? 3,000 miles of concrete and sky. And me? Still half in the closet at family dinners. Dad's homophobic rants echoing from my childhood in Ohio. Jordan knew it all. I'd spilled it in fragments. Voice cracking over calls. He never judged. Just listened. His silences more comforting than any platitude. Me too. I whispered into the mic, hitting send before I could overthink. Good. Jordan. What do we do? His response, a voice note. His voice husky from lack of sleep. We meet. So, I can't keep whispering to a ghost anymore. The hook sank deep that night. By morning, tickets booked, me flying west, him driving to LAX. Panic and thrill twisted in my gut like cheap whiskey. What if the chemistry fizzled in flesh and blood? What if his touch felt foreign? His scent wrong? But deeper, the real storm brewed. My ex, back in New York, had texted out of nowhere. Heard you're running off to Cali. Don't be stupid, Alex. You know how this ends. The ghost I'd buried. 2 years of toxic cycles, passionate fights in dive bars, make-up sex that left bruises on my soul. He cheated. Leet. Called me too sensitive when I begged for more. I'd walked away 6 months ago. But scars don't fade. Jordan didn't know the full rot. I'd skimmed the surface, afraid it'd taint what we had. The flight was a blur of recycled air and turbulence that mirrored my nerves. Palm trees whipped past the window as the plane dipped toward LAX. The sprawl of LA, unfolding like a promise or a trap. Heart slamming, I scanned the arrival's gate. There he was, leaning against a pillar, Black hoodie zipped against the chill, hands shoved in pockets. Broader than his pic suggested, with that easy slouch of someone who graded papers under fluorescent lights. Our eyes locked. No awkward wave, no hesitant smile. He crossed the space in 3 strides, and I met him halfway. His arms wrapped around me, solid and warm, the citrus cologne hitting me like homecoming. I buried my face in his neck, inhaling deeply the faint salt of his skin, the whisper of laundry softener. "Alex," he murmured, lips brushing my ear, voice exactly as I dreamed. No echo, no delay. It wasn't a first meeting. It was a reunion. We drove to his Echo Park bungalow in his beat-up Prius, windows down, wind whipping our hair. The radio hummed indie folk, lyrics about lost lovers that felt scripted for us. His hand found mine on the gearshift, thumb tracing circles that sent sparks up my arm. "Feels like I've held this hand before," he said, glancing over with eyes like melted chocolate. Inside, the place smelled of fresh coffee and old books, shelves groaning with dog-eared classics. A chalkboard wall scrawled with lesson plans. We crashed on his couch, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces we'd assembled in dreams. His kiss started soft, exploratory, tasting of mint and hesitation. Then deeper, urgent, hands roaming with the familiarity of months unspoken. I gasped against his mouth, the sound swallowed by his low groan. Rain might have been falling back east, but here, under his touch, it was endless summer. That first night, we didn't sleep. We traced tattoos, a faded rainbow flag on his ribcage, inked at 18 in a dingy Vegas parlor after coming out to his mom, who'd hugged him tighter than before. A typewriter on my forearm, for the words that saved me when fists couldn't. We laughed about app disasters, sighed over heartbreaks. But as dawn crept in, golden fingers through the blinds, the shadow loomed. My phone buzzed. "Mark again, bet he's just like me. You'll come crawling back." Jordan saw my face crumple. "What's wrong?" His voice was gentle, but his eyes sharpened, reading me like one of his students' essays. I exhaled, long and shaky, the weight crashing down. "My his poison keeps pulling me under. I didn't tell you everything, how he made me feel small, like loving a man was a flaw I had to hide." Tears pricked, hot and unbidden. The room felt too small, the air thick with unsaid fears. A neighbor's dog barked, sharp as accusation. Jordan pulled me close, his heartbeat steady against my cheek. "Hey, look at me," I did, and his gaze held no pity, only fire. "You're not small, Alex. You're the guy who writes truths that gut-punch readers, who stayed up whispering dreams to a stranger across the country." He's the ghost. I'm here. Real. But the mouth one peaked that afternoon. We planned a hike in Griffith Park, chasing views of the Hollywood sign like some rom-com trope. Halfway up the trail, sweat beading on our skin, my phone lit up, a call from Dad. Answered. Voice clipped. "Yeah. I'm in LA. For work." His gruff tone boomed. "Work? With who? That fairy friend you mentioned?" "Son, get your head straight before you embarrass the family." The trail blurred, rocks crunching under my sneakers like breaking bones. Jordan stopped, hand on my shoulder, concern etching his face. I hung up, chest heaving, the old rage bubbling. He doesn't know. About us. About me. And Mark's texts, they're reminders I don't deserve this. Jordan's jaw tightened, but his touch stayed soft, fingers lacing through mine. Birds chirped overhead, oblivious, the eucalyptus scent sharp in the dry air. "Deserve? Alex? You've been fighting alone too long. But you don't have to anymore." He cupped my face, thumbs brushing tears I hadn't noticed. I whispered to you every night because you saw me, the teacher scared of tenure cuts? The black gay kid from Compton who hid his poetry in lockers. You made me brave. Let me do the same. We sat on a boulder. The city sprawling below like a map of possibilities. His head on my shoulder. Our breaths sinking to the rustle of leaves. No grand speeches. Just quiet. Call him back, Jordan said finally. Voice steady. Tell him who you are. Or don't. But know this, I'm not going anywhere. That night, back in his bed, sheets tangled like our fears, we made love slow and deliberate. His whispers now against my skin, I love you, Alex. Every jagged edge drowned the doubts. No apps. No screens. Just us. Bodies moving in rhythm to the hum of the ceiling fan. The distant wail of sirens blending with our sighs. By week's end, as I boarded the flight home, Mark's number blocked, Dad's call unanswered but a draft email half-written, truths I'd send when ready. Jordan drove me to the airport, our goodbye kiss salty with promise. This isn't the end, he said, forehead to mine. It's the sequel. Months later, in a sunlit New York courtroom, me testifying for a story on queer youth rights, Jordan flown in for support, we locked eyes across the room. To smile, that same crinkle, said it all. Whispers had built a bridge, but we'd crossed it together. Love wasn't pixels or peril, it was choosing each other, dawn after dawn, storm after storm. And in that choice, we found our forever, not whispered, but roared.